Hey, hey, hey. Hey, everyone. Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. You know who it is, and it's time for the best and worst tracks of the week, a.k.a. the weekly track roundup, where I go over what were essentially the song highlights for me this week. Hope you're doing well. It was a bit of a holiday week this week, so not a ton of songs hit me this week, but did find a decent crop of tracks over here to talk about. Before we get into that, of course, I have to shout out a few things. Of course, our Amazon Associates link, which is down there in the description box. If you live in the U.S. and you click on that and then you buy something on Amazon, we get kickback from it. It does not add to your overall price. Just use it to buy some stuff you were going to buy anyway. Don't go out of your way for us. Just buy some stuff you were going to buy anyway, and that's it. Okay? And after that, the good people over at Turntable Lab, if you're going to buy some music online, don't use Amazon. I would prefer you use Turntable Lab. They have some really colorful and amazing pressings of fantastic records that I've covered as of late, and also great turntable equipment and audiophile equipment as well for your budding record collector, speakers, wires, the whole works. So check them out. They have a lot of good stuff over there. And finally, I want to shout out the t-shirts that we have available online at theneedledrop.com/support. It's a Name Tano shirt with, all the different little name remixes on the front. This is different than the original that we did, not only in terms of font, but the name set is different on the shirt too. We have Don't Thany Unfollow, Play Thany Nintendo, Cuck Thany Boy Tano, all the good ones, all the highlights, all the hits. And what I didn't mention last time when I put this shirt on blast is that if you buy one of these shirts, and this includes the people who have purchased the shirt already, don't worry. But if you pick up one of these shirts using the link down in the description box, you are put in the running to win either a sort of deluxe book edition of Radiohead's A Moon-Shaped Pool, because we do have a deluxe edition of that hanging in the wings, waiting to be won by someone who picks up one of these shirts. Or we have a vinyl 10-inch copy of Amnesiac. So you could win either of those two vinyl records. Again, it's more of a raffle, so we'll have two winners out of everybody who's picking up shirts, and they'll be randomly chosen. So just letting you guys know that. And finally, that's going to be it. Let's get into the worst tracks of the week. Oh yeah, the worst tracks. What tracks were the worst? We like to start off negative in this in this segment. Right after I shout out our sponsors, I like to get real negative. First off, we are going to have to talk about this brand new track from Wolf Alice, Don't Delete the Kisses. Oh, it hurts to even say that title. Wolf Alice, in my opinion, in the past has released some pretty lackluster, dreamy rock music with a bit of a pop flair to it that doesn't have much flavor to it, in my humble opinion. But it's almost like they figured out a way to get worse on this new track over here, because not only are those elements still alive and well on this new track, but also the lyrics on this thing, my God, the chorus, the refrain on this thing is unbearably corny as the title of the track itself. I really don't know. I mean, a lot of people have been pushing Wolf Alice to me, saying, hey, make sure you try out the new stuff. It's better than the last album. I know the last album didn't do too much for you, but this is, for me, moving even further away from something I may even be mildly interested in. If you love dream pop, if you love that kind of easygoing, laid-back, very reverby indie rock that people are so into right now, you may dig this, but this is not for me at all. Also the case for the brand new Tyga track, Move to L.A., which is off his forthcoming project, Bitch I'm the Shit Too. And this song is basically, for me, just making me wonder, why does anyone listen to Tyga in 2017? He literally has nothing special about his voice, his delivery, his style. He just writes the most cliched, generic pop rap I've heard in my life, and he's just basically continuing down this road. And unfortunately, he's pulled Dolla into the mix on this new track as well. And nothing against Ty. I do think he's a great vocalist, but I do think he could be working with some more interesting artists, because Tyga, it's his 15 minutes have been over for 30 minutes now, and yet it's still somehow just extending. Moving on from there, believe it or not, Ringo Starr has a new track out titled Give More Love, which is just as saccharine and as stomach churning as I guess you could expect a song with that title. and from Ringo Starr at this era in his career to be, I will never be listening to it again, at least not of my own free will. Ugh. Moving on from there, unfortunately was kind of disappointed and let down by the new Kamaiyah track, Build You Up. One of the artists that from this recent XXL freshman cover I had some somewhat high hopes for, felt that there was some potential there that wasn't fully being realized, and I don't feel like it's being realized on this new single over here. This is not sort of the gritty, good fundamentals rap track that I thought that if she continued to work at it, she could put out. This is more of like a pop rap tune with a bit of a splash of R&B, kind of a bit of a throwback vibe too, like a bit of salt and pepper. The chorus and really all the verses are super bland, super forgettable. Like nothing all that exciting, no highs and lows. It's just this constant like droning, I don't know, very run-of-the-mill, very dime-a-dozen nostalgic pop rap vibe that really is doing nothing for me whatsoever. And the music video, in my opinion, is even harder to watch. So I don't know, man. Just unfortunately, just disappointed. We're just gonna have to move on from here to the new Fortet song, which unfortunately I did not dig either. Fortet is an electronic music producer whose output I could typically look forward to and typically expect like some good moments out of. And even though I don't enjoy this new track over here, I mean, maybe there will be some other deep cuts off of this forthcoming record that I do connect with. But this new song over here seems to show Fortet going into a weirdly ambient direction that doesn't have that much in terms of, I mean, really anything. I mean, of course, there isn't a strong beat, a strong melody to this track, being that it's more ambient in nature. But I don't really find any of the textures or any of the soundscapes on this track all that intriguing either. It just kind of seems like some really uninspired electroacoustic new age music that I don't know, doesn't really have anything worth writing home about in it. So I don't know, just really let down by this new track, unfortunately. But you know, if you are a hardcore Fortet fan and you're open to him going into a more ambient direction, give it a shot. Make sure it doesn't slip through the cracks for you. Moving on to the meh section, these are tracks that I didn't think were terrible. They weren't amazing, but you know, certainly worth highlighting and pointing out to you guys. Want to give a shout out to Ted Leo, one of the most prolific and energetic and passionate songwriters in the indie scene in the 2000s, who I guess has kind of been under the radar for a little bit and has been kind of hanging back from putting out new music. He has a new album on the way. He has new output on the way. New single, new track out. Sounds just as energized and as sweet and as direct and as catchy as Ted Leo's songs typically do sound. I'm not like a huge Ted Leo guy. I'm not a huge Ted Leo fan. But, you know, it does sound like he's very much living up to the talents and the expectations that he has set so far with his music in the past. So shout out to Ted Leo. Make sure, you know, if you are into his music, that this does not slip by you. And if you're into indie rock as well, and Ted Leo is one of those artists who, wow, I've never heard of this guy, make sure to go back in his discography because he has some good stuff. Some Ted Leo and the Pharmacists records are actually pretty great. Next, Joey Badass. Excuse me. Excuse me so much. I'm a little congested here. Joey Badass has come out with 3 tracks. Count them. 1, 2, 3. 500 Benz, Love Is Only a Feeling, and Too Lit. Those are the 3 tracks that Joey Badass has released over the past few days. And, they're decent. None of them really stuck out to me as being as great as any of the cuts off of his latest record that he just dropped. A lot of them just kind of seem like very introspective, very self-reflective, laid back, mid-paced jazz rap. You know, I kind of feel like one of those Joey quote-unquote fans that, you know, kind of sits here thinking, oh, why doesn't he put out a banger? Why doesn't he go like all hardcore hip-hop and blah, 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 blah? Like, you know, these tracks are, you know, one of those moments where I finally like kind of feel that vibe a little bit. Like I get where people are coming from when they say that, because not only to me does this feel super laid back, but there's not a whole lot here in terms of, like concept of these tracks. It's like really winning me over, or wowing me. to be quite honest. If you are interested in just kind of hearing Joey take a little bit more of a personal angle, kind of a diary angle, with 3 new sort of offshoot tracks, then give these songs a shot. They're by no means terrible. Moving on from there, French Montana, Bring Them Tings. Wow, man. French Montana, and this song features Pharrell. I never imagined him coming out with a track that was so eccentric and bright and wild and hard-hitting. To me, he was always just kind of a bit of a bargain barrel rapper with nothing all that special in his artistic repertoire. And maybe most of the color and most of the vision and most of what makes this track so fun could be attributed to Pharrell. That is potentially true. But actually, his flow and his delivery on this cut, I actually didn't think it was him at first, because I'm typically used to him coming at the mic like sounding so lazy and so slack-jawed and so, I don't know, off-kilter, that it just kind of sounds like he's not trying. He really sounds pumped and energized on this new cut over here. And like I said, it's really bright, it's really eccentric, it's really a fun track. Not what I would have expected at all. And hopefully, on this forthcoming project, he brings more of that, because that would certainly be interesting. But still, I'm not going to hold my breath, because Pharrell, when he does land on a track, when he does get introduced into a track, he does kind of have a tendency to change the whole vibe, to reinvent what's going on. And while there are a lot of characteristics I do like about the track, is it going to be one of my favorite singles of the year? Most likely not. But it does have me sitting here intrigued and just sort of wondering what's happening next. Coldplay miraculously came out with a pretty decent track as of late, titled Aliens, which is like, I don't know, this kind of spacey, somewhat sci-fi and weird cut that I think sort of makes use of the very bright and shimmering and, larger than life elements that Coldplay typically works into their songs in like a really positive way, not in a way where it just kind of feels like they're trying to impress a bunch of, drunk people in a stadium or something. I actually kind of get this feeling of like intergalactic euphoria as I'm listening to the instrumental on this track. Is it some of the best songwriting I've ever heard Coldplay put together? No, not necessarily, but I actually like the way that they make use of their sound and the way that they make use of a lot of these effects in post-production on this cut. This is a lot of the same stuff that I enjoyed so much off of X and Y when I enjoyed a lot of cuts off of that album back in the day. Not that I expect Coldplay to go in this direction into the future. Kind of seems like they're more interested in trying to come out with their next top 40 hit, to be quite honest. But this was like a very nice, pleasant sort of surprise from Coldplay. So don't miss out on this track. It's not like the rest of the bland, dancey stuff they've been dropping as of late, believe me. And that's going to do it for the mess section, I believe. And now we're going to get into the tracks that I thought were the best tracks this week. Also, again, linked down there in the description. Okay, so if you want to check out any of these tracks, they're down there. Let's move on to the first best track. Oh, this one's pretty good. Zombie Juice of Flatbush Zombies fame, with, of course, Eric on production over here. So it's not really that far removed. It's not like he's going purely solo and it's like, really out there and totally unexpected or something. So Zombie Juice solo, effectively on here. And it's actually not like a bad track. Like, he kicks it off really well. Like, it's not the most amazing song I've ever heard, but there are a lot of interesting moments where he changes flow or adds in like some cool little vocal quirks, like, where the instrumental breaks away a little bit and you get some layered vocals popping in there for a second. Like, there are a lot of cool vocal ideas that he hits the listener with across the entirety of this pretty long track. It's not like he just dipped in for 2 minutes and disappeared. It's a pretty like sizable song that he's presented us with here. And, flow is always intense, always energetic, as you would expect from Juice. And I don't know, I'm just like pretty impressed with the track all around. He brings the flow, brings the energy. Some of the bars aren't too bad. Instrumental is certainly there, though it's not like, the hardest or the craziest Eric has ever put together, but it leaves like a lot of space for Zombie's delivery, for his performance on this track, and which is not a bad thing, because he really steals the show. He really kind of keeps you on the edge of your seat with his energy level from the beginning to the end of the track. And again, sort of those weird vocal little tricks and quirks that he places throughout the song are really interesting as well. So, I don't really know. Is he gearing up for some kind of record in the near future? If it sounds this good, I hope so. So really digging on that. Digging on Olga Bell. She has a new EP out titled the America EP, which is, obviously based off of a track from her record that I reviewed not too long ago, but there are actually a few non-album B-side cuts on this EP too. One specifically titled Special Leave that I would love to point out to you, love to highlight for you, because, her very angular and very odd vocals play out very beautifully over this driving and very bustling and very intricate and layered and dense and complex dance beat that's pretty polyrhythmic. There are elements of, I think, I don't know, some of the polyrhythms sort of struck me as being a little African. I could be completely wrong on that, but that's just kind of my assessment. But then, kind of the main percussive element of the track felt like I was listening to, some house music or like some garage music from the UK or something. So it seemed like there were a lot of different elements to the instrumental, to the rhythm on this thing that I thought were pretty awesome. But really, it's sort of her vocals that steal the show. I'm just sort of recalling in my head what I remember of listening to the track for a few moments. But check it out for yourself. I was certainly impressed with it when I first hit upon it. Again, it's titled Special Leave. Moving on from there, Milo, excuse me there, my computer farted. Milo has a new track out that I think dropped last week. Unfortunately, I forgot to mention in last week's Best Worst Tracks. I'm mentioning it here. Milo, new single, new record on the way. Check out his Bandcamp. It's linked down there in the description. And this new track of his is fantastic. Got to give it to Milo on this new track. Like everything that I liked about his last record, the fact that he went a little more aggressive, a little bolder. This time around on this cut, he's doing like some really weird experimental edits on his voice, like some really cool production trickery on this track. Everything that excited me about his last album seems to increase 2-3-fold on this new track over here. And if this song is any indication of what's to come, like this new record is going to be absolutely exciting. So again, shout out to Milo over here. Make sure you don't miss out on this track. He's one of the better underground rappers out there you can listen to. He's one of the better rappers in the left field that you're going to come across in today's day and age. So don't miss that. Moving on from there, Kesha, new track out. Like, I legitimately enjoyed this new Kesha song called Praying, which, if you know anything about why Kesha has sort of disappeared from the limelight for the past few years, she has been in the limelight, but not for music, So, if you've sort of followed that whole story, this song can be a little hard to listen to. I think to go into this song, reading the messaging of it, the messaging of forgiveness, hoping that this person who she has in mind can find peace or whatever, it's kind of hard to go into this track and not sort of read some of that in the song. Could be totally disconnected. I'm open to that. But knowing what I know and what most people probably know going into this track, it's kind of hard to listen to it and not at least read some of that in the song. And, if that is truly how she feels, it's a beautiful sentiment. But on top of it, even separating the song from that narrative and separating the song from its, potential sentiment, it's actually like a really beautiful and powerful, like little piano ballad. I didn't know she could sort of hit these vocal highs, present these moments of vocal drama, because typically I'm just hearing her over, this really hard-hitting, crazy, just very brash and bratty pop music. Forgive me. I'm not a huge Kesha fan or anything like that. I'm not like some expert on Kesha's back catalog, but I know what I've heard as far as like her biggest singles, every single time she has something to drop. And, I've never been like pulled into a Kesha record, via her teaser tracks. I have enjoyed some of what she's done with Flaming Lips, when she's collaborated with another artist that I like. But again, never been a huge Kesha fan, but, very much won over by this new song over here. Like, it's a very powerful song, amazing climactic ending on this track, just great all-around performance. Production on the song is great too. Good tune, good song, thoughtful lyrics. I really don't have anything bad or negative to say about this track. I do think the music video is a little weird. Like, the more I watched or paid attention to the video, the more I felt myself being uninterested in the track. I just felt like it was trying to do too much. But when I was actually just kind of simply just paying attention to the song and sort of getting the music video out of my freaking face, again, I was just really impressed with pretty much everything that the song had to offer. So, if you want to be kind of wowed and by something maybe a little unexpected here, do give this Kesha song a shot if you've never sort of been big into her music before. And definitely have to give a shout out to this new DJ Shadow track over here, which is from a new DJ Shadow EP. One of the tracks features Nas, but the track over here that I want to highlight features Danny Brown. Amazing track. It's titled, I believe it's titled Horror Show. Yes, Horror Show is the title of the track. And it is so hard hitting. It's so grimy. It's so gross. It's so fantastically filthy. The energy, the viscera of it is amazing. DJ Shadow comes through with a song that really supports and amplifies and almost multiplies the energy that Danny typically brings on a track. I love that these two have worked together. I love that the collaboration they've come through with here has sort of shown flying colors. It's really fireworks in my opinion. And, if you're a fan of either artist, you cannot miss out on this. If you're a fan of hip hop, you cannot miss out on this. If you want to hear something in rap that's, off the beaten path and crazy, you do not want to miss this. And finally, want to give a shout out to Blue Ivy Carter for what I've been hearing on the internet as like this weird little one-off freestyle that, could end up, it's rumored to be ending up on the physical version of Jay-Z's 444, which if you have not checked out my review on this album, please do. I do enjoy the record quite a bit. But Blue Ivy Carter, what's been floating around the internet is this little recorded freestyle that could end up on the physical version. And, it's actually really cute. There's this one bar in there about how she's never seen or, known a ceiling in her whole life. Like, oh, damn, that's a bar. That's a bar. Already at such a young age, she's got a few bars. If we're being honest here, she could work on the flow a little bit, but, she has her whole life ahead of her to work on that. If in fact that's the direction that she wants to go in, if that's a passion that she wants to continue working on, because, and honestly, I'm not trying to be hard on a little kid over here. I'm actually trying to give legitimate criticism because I believe, what Blue Ivy has brought on this track and brought in this freestyle is just as worthy of consideration and just as worthy of criticism as anything else, you're hearing out there these days. So I'm just giving her the same respect and attention to detail as I would any other artist. And, as in fact, that should be obvious because I have placed her in the best track section over here. Okay. Because I thought it was a tight, cute little freestyle. Which, if I do end up picking up a copy of this, I'm looking forward to hearing it within the context of the entire record. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. You're the best. That was our weekly track roundup. Remember that Amazon Associates link is down there in the description. That Turntable Lab link is down there in the description. Pick up a t-shirt too. Those are back ordered a little bit. I do want to let you guys know we do international shipping, just so I get that out there. They are back ordered a little bit. I have to do the first batch of shirts this week as far as sending them out. Whatever you buy now will be the next batch or the next batch, depending on how many get sold. So, I am doing all of this myself. So do keep in mind that, you do got to give me a little bit of a leeway over here as far as time frame. Especially if you're overseas, where it can take, even if I do send it out ASAP, 3 to 4 weeks to actually reach you. And that's going to be it, guys. You're the best. I will catch you in the next video. All these songs are linked down there in the description. Hope you got some good recommendations out of this. And love you, love you, love you. Woo, forever.